Jupiter rising at 23 degrees ascending.
I hate my life.
I just need to know what in the hell is going on.
I have more in common with a dog than I have with you.
I love dogs. I've always loved dogs.
No, bees are genetically designed to recognize royalty. Bees don't lie.
Are you saying your people killed the dinosaurs? I love dogs. That ain't bad either.
Oh, my thumb went right into it. Oh, shit.
That's what she said.
Shit.
All right, welcome everyone.
Fuck me.
Welcome to our very professional podcast where
God
we
damn
talk
it.
about
It spilled
movies
everywhere.
and boners.
Hi, everyone. Oh, fuck.
Do you need a napkin or something?
I kind of do, but that's okay. I got shorts.
Spoken like a true bachelor. All right, welcome everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Cheers to you for a new show. What beer are you drinking, Dustin?
I am drinking something that I figured I'm probably not going to be a big fan of, but I'll try it anyways, and hopefully I don't hate it as, much as I anticipate.
I see where this is going.
So I'm drinking Rogue Gallery. Wow, there's the nerd in me. Rogue Brewery, their hazelnut brown ale. Brown ales are off and on for me. And it being all hazelnutty, I don't know. What are you drinking?
That's a great recommendation. I am drinking from it's very space themed. It's a seasonal Ecliptic Brewing where the heck is
there
this?
You go. Oh, it tripped on me again. Ecliptic
Brewing Company Sunray Juicy IPA. And it's pretty good. It's a little more I'm going to sound stupid if I say sour because a lot of IPAs are sour, but as far as juicy IPAs go,
they're not sour, they're just hoppy.
Well, you know what I mean, like bittery.
Yeah.
I meant bitter. I meant like not sweet. But it's good. I mean, it's still good. I don't have any complaints other than I don't have any complaints. Okay, moving on. A couple of things to bring up. I knew that we had so much to cover last week that I would forget. One thing I wanted to bring up before we start. I totally spaced a movie dad. Movie dad I would have had on my list. Cooper from Interstellar. I can't believe I didn't have and nobody brought up.
I'm with you on that one. I couldn't believe I didn't bring him up either. But then I remember why. And it's really
he does leave his kids and kind of
right. And it's really like I get why he leaves his daughter, and I get the whole point of his entire mission. That film isn't for him personally. It's not to necessarily save humanity. I mean, it is, but he's trying to make sure his daughter can have like a long life. So I get his sacrifice. I totally get it. I respect that choice by that character. Personally, I would not be able to leave my child for that period of time.
Yeah. He has that moment of realization, which is basically the high point of the movie where he's just sitting there crying, because he knew that he totally screwed up. And anyway, Cooper, if anybody asks, I did remember eventually.
Yep.
The second, I didn't call you out at the time, but I love how the part that makes you cry in The Patriot is where the little girl says, who doesn't want to talk, decides to talk for the first time.
Yeah, when she screams "Daddy,"
not the two
and runs after him.
Not the two separate occasions where his own sons are murdered in front of him. Spoiler alert for The Patriot, by the way. So I did think about that after. I was like, that's a little more.
Do you want to know why I don't?
I know why
at those scenes. No, it has like even before I became a dad, I didn't cry at that scene.
Okay, then
do
I would
you
like
know
to know
why?
I do not know. Please enlighten me.
As much as I love that movie, because I genuinely love The Patriot, folks, it's an incredible film. The problem, though, was in the previews when that movie was coming out, They showed his sons being killed in the they talk about it in the preview. So when it happened, it was kind of like, oh, that's how they did it. Like, still sad,
but anticlimactic.
Kind of, because you know it's coming.
Sure.
That's the only reason. But when his daughter breaks finally, are you fucking kidding me?
You're not wrong. It is a great.
I know I'm not
scene.
wrong.
It is a beautiful scene.
Yeah, you bastard.
But
see, I'm glad you brought it up because I did also realize we ended and I had another me moment where I hinted at something, completely forgot about it during the episode, and then remembered later. Have made a note of it, like. So I had made a comment about a father figure in a film that originally I was like, oh yeah, this guy's totally going to be like on a list or at least an honorable mention. I got to have him. Mm-hmm. And I even told you that. And then I was like, but then I rewatched the movie and like, I kind of have to take him off because he's doing some shit that I don't necessarily agree with.
Right.
Yeah. So have you ever seen the movie Easy A?
Yes.
Okay, so hilarious movie, folks. By the way, very funny movie. I was like Stanley Tucci. He's such a like entertaining dad in that movie. And then I rewatched it and I was like, he is so fucking oblivious and like encouraging his daughter to dress the way she does, encouraging her to like, he's trying to be this free spirited.
Yeah. He's like a cool dad. Yeah.
And no, I can't agree with that.
Yeah, he's more of just like a funny dad, kind of like the dad from Halloween, the new Halloween.
Yeah,
he's funny, but
so when I rewatched it and was seeing that, I was kind of like, oh man, I can't agree with the decision by this dad to be like, my daughter's walking around her high school with her tits and ass hanging out. Mm-hmm. That's okay. That's cool. Do I need to be worried?
Purpose.
Right. And he asked her a couple times, like, do I need to be worried about you? And she's like, no, I'm good. And he's like, okay.
Good
and
enough
he walks
for me.
off. I'm like, no, I would be like, all right, we're having a talk. I get some parents out there might be like, you have to let your kids make their own choices. No.
And to Emma Stone's, like, her character's, point, she is kind of more mature than normal teenagers tend to be, but
she's still walking around her high school, and then I was like, man,
check in, be aware of what your kids
be aware of your kids. Like boundaries, it turns out boundaries are a good thing. They provide structure, and that's healthy for growth. So that's my thing.
All right, well, there's your dad moment for this.
That's my dad moment. At least I remembered that one. I did remember a whole bunch of other movies that I ended up seeing, and I totally forgot all of them again.
Well, I'm going to ask you about one in a second because I remembered one that you saw that you didn't bring up last time.
Oh, okay. But maybe that's the one that I forgot again.
We'll do the movie draft now. Interesting things are afoot. Number one, I caught back up and surpassed you in the rating.
Yeah, I know.
The 13 Lives is doing very well. Bullet Train also appears to be very good. Although I did lie last episode. I said that I didn't have any straight to streaming movies. It was because I was not even aware that 13 Lives went straight to Amazon. I thought that it was a legit theater Ron Howard movie.
Yeah, and no one even knows it exists, apparently.
I haven't seen any press for it.
Prime hasn't even... I've been on Prime and prepped for our upcoming episode, and I haven't seen anything for it.
Yeah, but in general, if you do find it, people seem to like it. And then, Bullet Train. I also have high hopes for Don't Worry, Darling. That is Olivia Wilde's second directorial movie. Her first one was like a 7.1 or something. So I think
it does look interesting.
I think I'll be doing okay. Box office, though, is still obviously not very strong. So this, I didn't show you this last time, but I made these.
No, but I saw the graphs. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so there's this cute little uptick at the end where I surpassed you.
Cute little uptick.
Yeah. So that is my note there.
But
thing I was going to ask.
Pretty telling about you and I, Jake.
Yeah.
Because up to now, you and I pretty much made, like, we're neck and neck, which means you and I flock to movies kind of similarly, like same, I guess, perspective on movies and all that for the most part.
Yeah.
What movie were you going to ask me about? I think that's interesting.
Nope. I know that
I did see Nope. That is the one I forgot about. Yeah.
And then you didn't bring it up last time. And the text you sent me after you saw it wasn't very clear on whether you liked it or not.
I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it a lot, actually.
Okay.
What I texted you, and I'll tell everyone else, if you haven't seen Nope, I will say it is one of the more original, creative, very interesting alien-centric movies that I've seen, and I really appreciated that aspect. But what I loved the most and what made me, I'm pretty sure I enjoyed it more than Get Up and or Get Out and Us, was Jordan Peele finally seemed to like kind of get over his holier than thou racism card. For a long time, for people that have listened to you and I long enough, know we kind of don't flock to that mentality no matter who it's coming from. Like his whole what's the word I'm looking for, notion of I'm only gonna cast black actors because, you know, fuck Hollywood and fuck everyone else. That really put me off. That's actually a big reason I didn't like Candyman. And you and I talked about that because it was just too like. And I talked to other people that agreed with me too, of like, it gets tiring. Like, just make a movie, just make a story. Right. And I felt that's what Nope really was him just making a story. And I appreciated that. It was cool. It was interesting. If you
focus on the wrong things, I would much prefer you focus on making a good story and then whatever that means, whatever it needs to be.
Let the story be what it needs to be. Now, saying that, I do still enjoy Get Out and Us very much. Although the more I watch both of them, the more I am leaning towards Us being a more interesting story.
It's certainly more. I think Get Out it was very strong, but it was also kind of new. And so he polished a lot between the two, and Us is much better.
Yes. Us was awesome. Nope was really cool. I did just go see Bullet Train.
How's that?
Dude, that's a blast.
It looks fun.
It's a genuine blast. Like, the big summer box office is ending, right? Bullet Train is a great movie to end the summer blockbuster season with.
Nice.
So much fun. I mean, it's Brad Pitt playing kind of a quirky, wrong place, wrong time kind of guy. Very fun. Jake, I know you're a huge Michael Shannon fan.
That's true.
He's in Bullet Train, man. I love the cast. Very fun movie.
Is Sandra Bullock in it, or just like her voice? Well, is she the voiceover lady, like the radio lady?
Yeah, she's his handler who he's talking to in the preview.
But is she ever like not on the radio? Is she ever like in it, like in person, like an actor?
Go watch the movie.
Oh, is it like a spoiler?
Like that? Why?
Well, because I would only go see it if Sandra Bullock's actually.
Bullshit! You're gonna see it, dude. I will say it's way more violent and way more gory than I thought it was going to be. Like, I had a naive moment, folks. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought it was PG-13, just like a fun action movie. It's rated R, and you realize that it's rated R for very specific reasons pretty early on into the movie. And I was like, wow, this is super bloody for a PG-13. And then a couple scenes happened after that. I was like, oh, it's rated R. This is a hard R film. Film.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that interests me even more then.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So,
good.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a couple other updates. Definitely get your merch on our merch store. It's going to be phased out, I think 2 weeks after you're hearing this episode. After this episode drops, 2 weeks out after that. So before the next episode, I guess is another way to put it.
Yeah.
Because we are on the new schedule every 2 weeks. So get your merch there. And then we don't really talk about it, but if you want to support us, merch is a good way to do it. We want you to get something out of it as well. So that's kind of nice that you actually get something. It definitely helps a lot. This isn't free to do by any means. Oh, also new, and you don't even know this yet. First time you're hearing about this. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, you can do that now. There is a link on our website right next to merch that says sponsor, and you can essentially subscribe for 99 cents or $5 or $10 a month. And that helps us out too. But you don't get anything out of it other than this show, which is free anyway. So go to the merch store and get something there.
So what you're saying is we need to think of something for subscribers.
Yeah, we could do that. If we had our shit together, we could do that.
But, we're middle-aged men.
Right. With wives and families.
But yeah, no, please do that. I think that's awesome. I know there's some stuff you and I have talked about, and we'll be gearing up and working towards like behind the scenes kind of stuff. So folks, if all goes well, if we do our part, things could get super interesting and fun in the next year or so for us. So definitely subscribe. Maybe that could be something where we'll give you like the inside scoop. Or
bonus content or something.
But anyways, we'll figure something out. Something awesome for you guys. We promise.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We'll have to talk about that. We haven't talked about it at all. So yeah, that's basically that. This episode is a very fun episode. I found it funny going from last week's episode where we talked all about the best movie dads in history. Now we're talking about a movie about a girl who was born without a dad. So that's kind of sad, but it's true.
I thought it was funny that we were going from a very like heartfelt, pretty like real talk episode. I mean, for the most part, that was like, it's a pretty deep episode. I thought that was a lot of fun and really cool and awesome to do. I had to chuckle that we went from that to this movie.
Well, we got to mix it up.
We are mixing it up. We are. Folks,
I was going to say
one last week that like meant a lot, and now we're giving you the silly one that Jake has been wanting to do for no reason other than just to see my reaction to this movie because you made
the mistake of telling me you've never seen it, it went from, oh, that's a weird movie to, oh my God, I have to get Dustin to see it and record his reaction on the podcast.
It's true. You did. And I feel like this is the second or third time you have snuck one of these kinds of episodes in.
I don't know about that. I feel like this is generally the movies I have recommended have been very interesting, good movies like The Empty Man.
Oh, by the way, The Empty Man is on, it's either HBO or Netflix. It's one of those. Go watch it because that movie is awesome.
Yeah. The Empty Man is good. What's the one we watched pretty recently that was like weird and interesting?
Oh, the Andrew Garfield one?
Yeah, Under the Silver Lake.
Yeah.
Under the Silver Lake was really good. These are all movies I have recommended. So I'm just saying, I have not added like that many movies to just really fuck
I know,
up.
but I feel like I need to
Mulholland Drive might be my fault.
Oh, dude, Mulholland Drive.
That might be my fault.
That movie was so bad. No offense, fans of the movie, but that movie sucked.
So this is leaning more towards the Mulholland Drive end of the spectrum. But you said it doesn't mean anything. I feel like they wanted it to mean a lot.
Mulholland. No, I said Under the Silver Lake.
No, Jupiter Ascending. You said this movie was like, I don't know what you said. You said something about Jupiter Ascending as like just what it is. And I think that they wanted it to mean a whole lot. They wanted it to be like a deep fantasy world building Matrix movie.
I agree with you that they had the intention of doing that. And then they didn't.
Yeah. It feels like a movie that is made by people who were inspired by the Matrix trilogy, quadrilogy, whatever, but could never make anything as good as that. And then you find out that the literally same people made it.
They're literally the same people.
You're like, how did you do that?
We're gonna dive into Jupiter Ascending, or at least as much as we can, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how this episode's going to go. My notes are extremely scattered. It could be a very shallow pool to dive into, or we could unravel it, and I don't know.
I think it's going to be a pretty shallow pool. Although every time you and I have thought we were
way
diving
to
into
sell
a shallow
the episode.
Pool, we're
still at the beginning. You can't tell people it's going to be a shallow pool.
I can tell people what I want, Jake. You're not my real dad.
That's true.
This episode is basically just going to be Jake getting what he is predicting and has wanted. That's essentially what this episode is.
It's going to make me so happy.
It is. So
it is.
We're talking Jupiter Ascending, folks.
Yeah, it's such a weird movie that I needed you to see it. That was the main thing. It's not the kind of movie that you just can't see. For most people, maybe it is, but for us, having had seen it and having had been like, what the fuck am I watching? Those are the moments where I text you and I'd be like, have you seen this movie? You need to see it.
That is accurate. I do get those texts, and that's usually I'll get the movie. Have you seen this? No. I was watching it and thought, what the fuck am I watching? And then thought, I need to text Dustin. Those have been actual texts.
Yeah.
Folks. Like,
that's a
real conversations. It's awesome. So Jupiter Ascending.
So how would you describe it to someone who has not seen it? Just like as a summary.
Oh, man.
If you're like, there's this movie, Jupiter Ascending, made by the Wachowskis.
Okay.
What would you say it is about?
Okay.
Because I really don't know.
It's fair. That's fair. I feel like the only way to summarize Jupiter Ascending is to dumb it down so much.
Okay.
I would summarize it as this young woman who hates her life in Chicago.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good guess.
Is unexpectedly thrown into whole. I lost it.
I was picturing all the different thoughts going through.
Like, I just had Channing Tatum roller skating through the sky. I can't Okay.
Channing Tatum,
I'm jumping ahead.
Boy.
Oh, okay. I've got some ranting to do.
I always think about the movie White Christmas, where Danny Kaye is talking about the brother of those two girls, and they're like, "You mean the dog face boy?"
Man. If you're not a fan of Channing Tatum, this movie will not change your opinion.
That's fair.
I got to make it sound cheesy like they would do in Hollywood. So a young woman in Chicago who hates her life suddenly learns of of her life's destiny on an adventure that takes her to the edge of the universe.
This is the gayest thing I've ever heard.
It's basically so stupid. Dude,
it's Cinderella in space.
It's not even Cinderella in space.
Well,
this is like, it tries to be some kind of...
It's Cinderella in space if Cinderella was secretly royalty the whole time and not just marrying a royal guy. Where she's basically a cleaning woman. She's a cleaning woman who hates her life and then discovers, because aliens abduct her and tell her, not like every alien abduction you can think of. It's not that. It tries to like connect all the dots of all.
So I got really confused on the whole abduction scene. I'm curious to hear if you can iron that one out for me, because I feel like
I anticipated most of this episode being, I was confused by this. What do you think that means?
So there's a fault. All right, I'll start right here.
Okay.
That way this episode isn't just you and I randomly. Although, folks, that is how a lot of our movie conversations, when it's not structured, go.
Yeah.
Where we literally jump from one part of a film to another. You should have heard us after we watched, what was that Tom Holland movie you and I went and saw?
The one with Daisy Ridley?
Yeah.
The new one, whatever that one is.
That one.
And also, we didn't know that it was part of a series.
A whole book series.
What was up with that alien? They never went back to. That was so confusing.
Hey, I had that thought for almost 2 hours. Oh wait, that's the length of Jupiter Ascending.
Do we need to do the movie dissection spoiler warning now?
I mean, we might as well. Guys, we're going to spoil
summary?
This bad movie. Okay, we're spoiling the hell out of it.
That was the worst summary of all time. Feel free to watch it if you want. If you don't,
that was not the worst summary of all time. I hit all the bullet points. She hates her life. She's in Chicago.
Kind of.
She gets taken on this crazy adventure into space.
Don't make me play devil's advocate for Jupiter Ascending, but there are some semi-interesting sci-fi moments where it's about harvesting planets, and these people are these own planets, and they harvest them for the human beings.
They gods? Are they?
They're kind of they're royalty, but they're
royalty alien, but
they're on a space celestial level where they're kind of. I got the vibe they were trying to go for a Roman mythology deity thing where it's they have all these complex stories and their family and all this stuff, but they're gods, but they have the same problems that normal people have. That's what it's kind of
like bickering siblings and an emo brother who is possibly one of the least intimidating villains I've ever seen on screen.
You're talking about Eddie Redmayne?
Yes. When your whole character is
the whole movie literally this. He's whispering. I'm so angry. This is my planet.
I needed subtitles, honestly.
Earth. It's mine. It's my Earth.
Yeah, he goes from
take it from me.
He goes from whispering the whole time to yelling at the top of his lungs. I'm like, you're a good actor, bro.
Right.
I don't know what this is.
There's a couple lines that he has where as he's whispering, he's tensing his whole body up. And you know what I thought of? I was like, man, that's almost the face, tone, and body shakes that you make when you're really trying to pinch a big shit out. And you're trying to coach yourself through it without waking up the rest of the house.
You got this. You got this.
Right. You will take the shit. You will.
Who does number 2 work
be
for?
Free of you! Oh, God.
Who does number 2 work for? That's true. So, okay, getting back into it. Let's take this seriously.
No.
We are going to spoil Jupiter Ascending. And
we will.
Absolutely everything. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it, or just continue listening. That's your fair warning, I guess.
You do you, man. You do you.
Well, I don't know that we can understand it enough to spoil anything huge.
I feel like nothing huge actually happens in the whole movie.
Accurate.
I feel every plot point that happens in the movie you see coming from the opening credits. Minus one plot point that, fair warning, folks, you were going to hear me bitch about this whole episode because it was possibly the dumbest fucking thing I have seen in a movie in a long time.
Okay.
Those goddamn gravity boots.
Okay, let's talk about the gravity boots. So,
fucking hate the gravity boots so much.
I do too. They're stupid. They're so stupid. But playing devil's advocate of a terrible movie.
Yeah, you are.
I did have the thought that most movies that are not well put together will have a reference to something and then they use it once and it's like a MacGuffin in the movie that you're like, oh, that thing you referenced, they finally used it. They get mileage out of these gravity skates. He uses them all the time.
I'm so glad you called them skates.
They're so
trying to be nice.
He's literally like hover skates.
He's rollerblading in the sky.
Yeah.
Literally, folks.
And the rules about them are very shaky. Like
he tries to explain it, and they make no sense at all.
He uses a lot of big words. Most of this movie is big words or made up words that you don't understand. And then he does dumb it down. He's like, down is easy, up is hard. I was like, I don't know what that means. It means like
that sounds like a lot of personal problems, dude.
That's true. But I was going to say that sounds like normal life. Like for me, I'm not saying I have problems with that, but I'm saying like every person on the planet, like jumping off the earth is hard, falling back down is easy. Like it's always going to happen. Yeah. So that doesn't explain to me how your boots hover.
I couldn't believe, like, the first time they did it was so cringeworthy, and I was like, oh god, hopefully these things just don't. Like,
hopefully they don't use it.
You need to get shot off of his foot where they're disabled, and you literally can't use them again. Like, make this character utilize other shit around him. You know, if he's the action hero, he's got to be
military superstar.
Yeah, he's got to be able to like adapt. You know, MacGyver this shit.
Yeah.
Nope. No. He fucking skates everywhere. He's
found his niche, and it's hover skates and a shield on his wrist. That is like super OP, that I feel like that's overpowered for all of you other people that aren't cool. He's the only one in the universe that has one, apparently.
That seems to have that one, yeah.
I'm like, how's nobody else having these shields that block?
I also kind of had the thought, like, every bad guy that fires a weapon at him, I was like, man, I wonder who's a worse shot. You guys or the stormtroopers? Because how you're not hitting him when he's behind possibly the galaxy's thinnest, smallest shield.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like a...
Yeah.
But
he's like moves perfectly, and he barely ever gets shot. They are shooting laser beams, which are as fast as light. Can't get any faster than that. But before we get too far away,
they're not humans, so they move at a different speed.
That's true. They are lizard men. But before we get away from it, I will contend, and there is an article on our website, our blog, called...
True, there is.
Go to movieboners.com. There's one about... Stormtroopers are actually not bad shots. That is a stereotype that is unfounded.
I was setting you up for that one because I felt like we needed to promote. We do have blogs on our website. Go read them. They're in
2 blogs, cool. Plural. Yeah.
Yeah. The idea was to put more, and I will at some point, but you know,
we'll get around to it.
We're forgetful.
But the 2 that are there are very good. So
they are good. They're really good. They're really good. Obviously, we're biased, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
They're really good. All right, let's. I feel like I'm gonna try not to bitch about this stupid movie for too long, but okay.
We talked all about his boots, but we didn't talk about the fact that when I was saying he was a dog face boy, I wasn't saying he's ugly.
Like, they tried to make Barf from Spaceballs like a badass, and you're like, you missed the point of Barf. Yeah. He's supposed to be comical. He's supposed to be ridiculous and hilarious, not a badass with like weird ears and who randomly growls. Did you catch that?
Yeah, he's a lichen something or other, not a lycanthrope, but he's a something or other lichen something. He's a splice. They use all these words to describe all these things, and I don't understand most of them. But he's essentially half human, half wolf, and he was bred for the military, and it makes him a very efficient soldier for some reason. They mentioned that he should be working with a pack, and he's much better in like a unit like that, which makes sense. But I don't see any other lichen people.
But you never hear anything.
All of them are. All the other people that seem to have wings and are legionnaires are these lizard guys. So they must have switched streams at some point. And they're like, you know what, the wolf men aren't working out. Let's go full lizard man. And so he's a relic of an ancient time, I guess.
They're like, what if we had dragons in space, but not actual dragons, like fat lizards,
kind of like
wings,
gargoyle type dudes,
but lizards.
Yeah,
not like monster demon things.
Yeah. like crocodiles.
Make them scalier.
Yeah, that's basically what it's like. So he's,
you know what? Their wings need to be non-proportionate to their body.
Yeah,
smaller wings.
The wing thing is weird. So
we are jumping so far.
Well, I'm trying to stay on topic. So Kane Wise, the dog face boy, is the lichen dog guy. He doesn't have a pack. There's no other dog people in the universe. So he's essentially a lone wolf. Like Sean Bean has this whole like thing about how he's supposed to be in a pack, but he's all by himself, and so that's made him like a better, more efficient killer. And so I'm like, oh, so he's a lone wolf. Just say he's a lone wolf. He's a lone wolf. But he's also lost his wings because he used to have wings like the lizard men, but he had them taken from him because they were like cybergenetic, military modified, installed wings that he lost when he was court-martialed.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Bean was his commanding officer who also got court-martialed because he defended him when he bit a royal person.
Yeah, because it was his instinct to bite. No, they don't call him royalty. They have some
entitled.
Entitled, yeah.
Yeah.
He got punished for biting the entitled.
Like the mailman, basically.
Right.
And so they both got court-martialed and had their wings removed. His whole like thing is partly, oh, I'm a lone wolf, and partly, oh, I'm a guardian angel who needs to earn his wings back. Like that's his whole arc of like he's constantly saving Mila Kunis, he's constantly flying on his hover boots, and then he gets his wings back at the end, and he's a guardian angel guy, basically.
Yeah, one of the many things, people, which I can already see all of you going, what? And yes.
This can't be a real movie.
That is accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated the wing thing. I really, dude, there was so much. I could not believe this movie got made. I honestly couldn't believe it got made. But there are a couple things that I did not hate, and I actually had a thought about it. But I don't know if I want to share it now or share it later. That way people are like, oh, Dustin didn't completely hate this movie. I did, but not. But before I get to all that.
Yeah.
I think, so I was trying to I watched it. I was trying to make notes. I was reading, I was doing my usual thing, right? And I was like, all right, I got to find out where was the actual disconnect for the Wachowskis and their audience.
Yeah.
Because Wachowski fans, so Matrix fans, we see that name Wachowski, and you and I talked about this during the Matrix episode, and not just with them, but with M. Night Shyamalan and, a handful of others.
Yeah.
When someone sets the bar, their bar, so high, and they put so much heart and so much care into the story that connects with the whole audience almost unanimously, that is expected. Maybe not that exact story, but everyone expects kind of that same care to be taken, kind of that same caliber to be met. Granted, it's probably never going to be met every time.
Yeah.
Eventually that bar kind of gets knocked down a few pegs. It's just reality.
Right.
So I was like, where did this fall off? So I started reading some articles on where people were losing interest in this movie. And I saw one that I was like, there it is. Because I couldn't quite pinpoint why. I mean, there's so much in this movie that bothers me.
Yeah.
But I watch and enjoy plenty of movies that bother me, but I don't hate them. They just they make a lot of bad choices.
Where does it cross that line?
Why? Yeah. Why does this one feel just like a what the fuck? And I saw a thing where someone said this movie, for an original story, completely original.
Yeah.
It feels like a bad adaptation of a young adult novel.
Yeah.
And I saw that and was like, oh shit. That's why it feels like I genuinely connected to that article, and that one of the many reasons.
Yeah.
I was like, that's exactly how this feels. It feels like there's so many huge points for all these characters that would have been in a book or a whole series.
Right.
That was completely omitted. So the editing in the film, I think, is actually the thing I hate the most of the whole movie, because it was like, it felt like this was probably originally either the setup for a franchise, which I couldn't find any confirmation on that actually, or it was originally like a 3.5 hour movie that the studio was like, no.
There's so much
all of this.
There's so much heavy like world building stuff that they just throw out like you should know what they're talking about.
Right.
It definitely feels like that.
So when I made that connection, saw that article, and realized like that's my biggest beef. It's the editing and just the way so many plot points, story and character developmental things, everything, they get quick hints and then there's no follow through. And I was like, that's my biggest beef with this movie, is it just felt like there's no follow through throughout the entire thing. And then they sum it all up into the most cliched, like, cheese fest of all time.
I totally know what you're saying. I love fantasy movies and fantasy stories, but I hate like forced fantasy. And there's a lot of that where it's like I'm just gonna force a ton of lore and words that you don't know what they mean, and you're supposed to just know what this story is about or figure it out over time, and it doesn't really make any sense. Or they intentionally make normal words more cool or sci-fi.
they try to put a sci-fi spin on a normal phrase or word.
Like there's a time where Channing Tatum's character, he calls the universe the verse, and I'm like, the whole sentence you just said was already confusing, and now you're putting the verse in there, and I could have understood that, but I didn't, because it's just
not a
the
slang word, guys.
It's like, oh, you're so cool. This writers suck. Oh, it's the Wachowskis.
Oh,
you are good. You can be good. Why are you not good right now?
Why are you not good? That was my big disconnect. I will say, like, I think they ended up putting a lot more attention and detail into like the design of the other worlds, like the backdrops, the sets.
Yeah.
Even some, I actually really, really dug their version of like the gray aliens, the ones that do the actual. I thought their design on them, I dug. I thought that was cool. They're creepy as hell. I thought they made sense. They fit with what was going on. And because of them, I was like, okay, let's expand on that. Like, that's a cool concept. Who are their, like, I want to see their masters. Let's get away from this humanoid thing. Let's see like something other than a dog man and Eddie Redmayne looking like he's constipated. And then we got the winged lizard guys, and I was like, oh god. And then they spoke, and I was like, oh, it gets worse. It's actually like I liked the gray alien guys a lot. I wanted to like, so there's this whole like sub thing about this movie where they're trying to explain aliens, like aliens in pop culture, like all the things that you know about them, they throw into this movie and try to connect the dots so that you have like some like belief that this movie could actually be in the real world with all the stuff that you know. They're like, oh, there are these aliens that abduct people, and yes, they look exactly like these gray aliens, these short little green Martian men. They look like that, and they have these like gravity guns that will shoot like this force air or whatever, and it knocks down the corn so that it looks exactly like corn crop circles and all this stuff. They're like trying to connect all things. They're like, oh, if they can have all these huge interactions with the real world, and then they can erase your memory. And if there's some huge event and they don't erase everybody's memory, that's okay, because even the ones that they miss, nobody will believe when they tell them they saw aliens. And I'm like, this is all stuff in the real world that I recognize, but it sounds worse all of a sudden. It just sounds so forced.
Yeah.
And I think because they do that with like the Matrix. They do like they connect real world to the machine world, like all the folklore and all that.
Yeah.
They do that, and they tried to replicate it here, but it failed here. And I think why it failed so much was they put too much like spectacle. They put it actually felt forced. Whereas with the Matrix, every note they hit was like, oh, that makes sense. Oh no.
Yeah.
Is this real? Like
to
to this
the point
day
where people still beve that we might be living in the Matrix.
right. Like, could this be a real thing? Whereas
if you think
like,
too hard about it,
Jupiter Ascending just kind of felt like, oh, you're trying to be clever and it's obvious. Oh no.
yeah. You're forcing it too much.
I'm not gonna lie. When they did that, like that aerial shot, and you saw the crop circle.
Yeah.
First thought I had was like, where the fuck did that come from? And I was like, wait a minute. So I like rewound it a little bit and was like, do they show them making it? And the only thing they show is them shooting their guns.
Yeah.
I was like, but none of their shots going. Like,
he shoots that one gun and it like blows her down, and it also blows down all of the corn into like a circle.
But like that's where their dimensions kind of falter a little bit because they're not that big.
Yeah.
But when they do the aerial shot, it's a crop circle, and as everyone knows, the crop circles are massive. Yeah. So I just felt I was like, did the ship make it? Was the ship parked there? And I was like, no, it's not. They're okay. That's
It was a forced reference.
All right.
Yeah.
I did find myself thinking, so when they get to like the action piece, which I'm jumping ahead, but whatever.
Sure.
The giant chase scene shootout.
Which one?
In the air over Chicago. The
which
first
one?
big one. The first big one. The big one with Channing Tatum.
There's like 3 big chase space scenes.
True, but the first one in Chicago when Channing Tatum like rescues Mila Kunis and she's like being whipped around where physics are completely omitted because she would have died so many times. If it's not from whiplash, her limbs would have been ripped off at the speed that they're going.
She's constantly falling from something and always gets caught by him at the end. It feels like the original Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman, where he catches Lois Lane. And I feel like I saw like an animated edit where she just like he tries to catch her and she just like her body blows through his arms and she is cut in half. It would be like that.
Yeah, just a little bit. But that whole like giant chase scene, I kept coming back to a couple things. One, it really went on forever.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, how is this still happening? This reminds me of stuff. And then I was like, oh my God, this reminds me of the pod race. And it reminds me of the whole opening scene of episode 2.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones, the giant chase scene. I was like, it goes on forever. And it's still happening. They're still going in the same circles. No one's learning anything. And then I was like, all this damage, they're like blowing up like full on skyscrapers. Cars are getting crushed and completely blown up. Blown up. Like people are obviously dying.
Right.
I was like, how the fuck are they gonna like? And then I thought, are they really gonna do like a mass MIB moment where they're like, we erase everyone's memory? They can't do that.
That's exactly
no one will
what
remember, and those that do, people will think are crazy. It's already being rebuilt behind me. And she's like, no way. And he's like, look. And she does, and you see it being rebuilt. They did that shot, and my thought was like, oh dear God.
Yeah. You rebuild a building, but you're not undoing what happened.
I was like, what about all those like smashed bodies now? Like people are gonna see and be like, huh?
Like little Billy's mom's not going home tonight.
That car is still destroyed, and if you fix the car, you're not resurrecting the smashed human being.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, they really did that.
It's a literal Men in Black flash of light to make you forget everything.
But again.
But they don't erase your devices. Any photos you took of them stay around.
They're like, you know what? You can have that one. That's on us.
Yeah, they'll just be confused.
We should have been more careful, I guess. I was hoping they were going to show more of like the cool technology, like the whole the gray aliens being able to morph themselves into a human, hide themselves behind that kind of when they're all disguised as the nurses when they're capturing her. Yeah. I was hoping for I was like, more
did
of
that happen in this movie?
It does. It really does.
Yeah,
I was hoping for more of let's see some of that technology because that's kind of cool. Let's see the aliens actually
Yeah.
I was like, she's got to learn how they infiltrate these planets, how
hide
they
among us.
They've been talking about
X-Files
harvesting,
shit.
right? And I was like, they showed them harvesting a planet, which is essentially killing it, and it's keeping bodies below their platform,
taking all of the people off of it, killing them as if they're harvesting cattle or whatever.
Yeah,
to make their serum that makes them live forever, which we'll get to later. But while we're talking about the aliens in the hospital room, did you feel like I did where she's in the hospital room, she's about to get her eggs harvested, also harvested, for money, and they
which I was confused on that.
You don't know that you can harvest eggs?
No, I did, but my confusion was so her dad... Is that her dad?
No, her dad's dead.
Her dad's dead.
Died at the beginning.
The guy... Well, but the head of the household.
Oh, I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Some uncle or something.
And I was like, okay, we're going to backtrack because we're going to try and map and figure this out.
Okay.
We're backtracking. We're coming back to the aliens.
Her mom and dad fell in love in Russia.
The dad dies.
The dad dies trying to save his telescope he's getting burgled.
Yes.
He tries to save it. He gets shot before she's born while her mom's pregnant.
Yeah.
Her mom leaves the country, gives birth to her. She's an illegal alien. That's the whole thing that starts
That's
the movie.
The very first line. Technically,
yeah,
I'm an illegal alien.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm an alien.
Please don't be this kind of movie.
Yeah, which they never come back to again. I'm like, are you an alien from space? No, you're just an alien from Russia. Not really an alien from space. I was very confused for a long time. So, yeah, they get to the new world. They get to America, become cleaning people. Her mom is still alive. Her mom is there.
Yeah, her mom and her aunt, but she has a close relationship with her aunt, according to her voiceover.
Yeah, must be her aunt's husband.
But then she never really interacts with her aunt. She has a couple lines with her aunt, but she does not interact with the aunt.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, so the three of them live in this tiny studio apartment.
Yeah. In Chicago.
Right? And then they show them all going downstairs into this big home where they're all gathered around the table. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm lost. Where did these people come from? And who the fuck are they? And then she's talking to the guy, her cousin, and he's like, you got to do this for money. You're not going to back out, right? And I was like, oh, she's selling drugs. Oh shit. Okay. This could be interesting. Making bad life choices that she'll have to contend with later on. Ooh, this could be interesting. Nope, her cousin, family member, is asking her to harvest her eggs to get money for him.
Well, that is the most confusing thing. Her harvesting her eggs, she's getting about $15,000, but for some reason he gets $10,000 and she only gets $5,000.
Okay.
And they don't explain it at all. She's like, why is this happening? And he's like, it's capitalism, baby. And I'm like, that doesn't explain it at all, other than the fact that I feel like part of this movie is anti-capitalism. But that doesn't explain it at all. Why do you get $10,000? Are you setting it up? It's a normal clinic. She just made an appointment.
Not your eggs, man.
She made an appointment and went in, and then they get her money.
I kept trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
Why
just
in
for
the
having
creative
the idea?
room when the Wachowskis are bouncing writing ideas off of each other, right? So what should we have her do? We got to get her into a clinic, right? Into the doctor's office. What should we do?
It started at her dad had a telescope. and it's a really nice gold telescope. She needs to like find it because it was stolen.
Yes.
Oh, maybe she gets it on eBay. They go to eBay,
but she can't afford it on eBay.
Shit, these telescopes on eBay are like $4,000. What can you do to get that much money quickly? Sell your eggs. Oh, but when you sell your eggs, you get way more than $4,000. You get like $15,000. So how do we like bring that down?
Because we don't want her to like have wealth.
Yeah. We don't want her to have like a bunch of extra money that she can use for like rent and all this stuff and not be poor anymore. So what if she spent almost all of it, like $4,000 out of the $5,000 on a telescope, and then just gave the $10,000 to her cousin for no reason?
You know what? Great idea.
Print it. That's the movie.
But there needs to be a catch. What's the catch? Well, she's got to put the $4,000 in before she ever goes to the clinic. Like the day before? No. Like a while before she decides she's even going to actually do it. Oh, yeah. Cool. Know what else is going to happen? We're going to set it up where the aliens are looking for her friend. Her friend's name, her friend's fate. Like they want her friend. She's going to go to the clinic, use her friend's alias this one time. The aliens will mix them up.
Okay,
but then it's on purpose.
I didn't understand
because they know that it's Jupiter. It's her. That's the lineage.
Yeah.
Yes. Does this make sense? No. Movie.
I didn't understand any of this. I was trying so hard.
Either I was like, wait.
I was trying so hard to figure it out because they talk about how they found this girl. They found the heir, or what do they call it? Regeneration, recurrence.
The regeneration of the mom or the queen. Or
she's essentially a reincarnated version of this old alien lady, and they believe that she's an exact DNA reincarnation of that person. And so they say that they found her. And before you know anything, before you know what recurrence is, before you know what anything is, they start saying these words to you. And then they give this one name, and like, we found her. I think they say they got a print of like her.
Yeah, like
and so I was like,
they have conclusive evidence. Yeah. It's the friend.
Yeah, and so they give her name, and then Eddie Redmayne's like, "Go find the friend," and so he does. They do. And but you then slam to the next scene where you realize the person with that name is just this chick who is like who Mila Kunis works for. Like she's cleaning her house, and so in my mind,
wants to have some kind of like lesbo relationship with her because she's like completely undressing in front of her. She's a cleaning lady.
She's not like hitting on her. She's
but she's dressed. Like, look at me, aren't I hot? It's just the two of them.
You are projecting that you think she's hot. She is not like trying to be hot. She's just getting dressed.
You're cleaning lady. It's just okay. Maybe not you and your cleaning lady. Like
she's a young, like she's a peer. She's like her age. They're similar ages. She's trying to be friendly. She's like, you work for me. I don't see you as like a threat because you're my, subordinate. You're my employee. And I'm trying to get dressed to meet this rich guy who's going to propose to me. So she's just trying to get dressed. And yeah, she happens to be naked most of the scene. And yeah, she may be attractive, but that's not the point. And I don't think she's hitting on her, but maybe she is. I don't understand most of this movie.
I was just like, I wouldn't be surprised because it is Wachowskis. So I feel like
it's true.
For scenes, especially like setups like that, harvesting the eggs, the money, like there's a lot of moments in it where I was like, are they trying to like make a social point?
There were a lot of those coming across. There's a part where we're bouncing around, but there's a part where Kane gets shot and he's bleeding, and Mila Kunis is like, "Oh, lucky for you, a woman owns this car," and she pulls out a maxi pad out of the glove compartment, and like puts it over, and I'm like, first of all, that's terrible first aid, and second of all, I feel like that's definitely social commentary. Like, I didn't know like at what point of the Wachowskis' life this was, because I didn't remember like when they became Lady Wachowskis.
Yeah,
they transitioned, and this came out like after Cloud Atlas.
So they
didn't do anything
transitions
since
before Cloud Atlas.
Okay, So they're full on Lana.
So they
and
are
Lily now.
women now.
Yeah.
And
Allegedly. And what were we talking about? Oh, so they're at the apartment, and so it seems like I'm thinking because she's the cleaning lady, she must have left her print on a glass she drank while she was working there, or a countertop or something. Okay. And that's what the aliens somehow got. I don't know how they would know to go there to get that information.
Hey man, CSI.
And so they're like, oh, this lady owns this apartment. It must be her print. She must be the heir apparent to the entire universe. So, so that's why they went to get her. But then they like probe her, realize it's not her, and or at least I think I didn't know what you just said, where she used her friend's name.
She uses her friend's name at the clinic. She does not go in and say, "My name's Jupiter." She uses her friend's name that the aliens were like, "This is the lady we need."
So then I don't understand at all. I don't understand at all why the aliens didn't abduct the girl the first time. Because they definitely like they have her
because
like,
they're starting to, and then Mila Kunis or Jupiter interrupts the abduction, and they like scatter because she takes the photo of them.
They just zap her with the memory thing, and she forgets.
Right, but they run, they bail.
They could have taken the girl, just make her forget, take the girl, boom, done.
Take the phone.
They don't do that.
For some CSI alien dudes that know to pull fingerprints.
Yeah.
I think they would remember, get that phone. It has evidence.
Remember that time that she was taking a photo? You live in space and you have all this technology, but you don't know how cameras work.
They're like, oh my God, a bright light. What the fuck?
Just because her phone rang and you found her, it's not like it's just a phone. Like it has a camera on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they leave her. But I guess that does make sense. She uses her friend's name at the clinic. They try to abduct her again at the clinic. Even though she's a completely different person now.
Completely different person. And if I remember right, there's a line from one of them that's like, yes, this is her. This is the one we need. And you're like, completely, like one's blonde and one's not.
I thought that is because they did like a blood test or some DNA thing to actually get real stuff. Maybe they did another fingerprint thing if that's all they have. I don't know.
I don't know. Like that whole sequence, man. I was like,
there was no like, oh, we fucked up the first time. It's just like, yeah, this is totally her. We knew that.
And I was expecting like, this isn't the one we need. And then someone accidentally, like as they're pulling the blood, to be like, wait, this is. Like I was expecting that. But no, they're totally just like, yes.
You were expecting a movie that made sense.
It's her.
Yeah. So back to the moment where I was trying to ask you before in the clinic room, they like levitate her like the original girl, flip her over so she's like hovering on her stomach, and then there's like that over the shoulder shot of the doctor, and there's kind of some like she's wearing a hospital gown, so it's kind of like up. And I was like, are they gonna probe her right now?
Oh yeah,
I got that hard probe vibes, and they don't.
They don't.
The dog face boy comes.
Yeah, Channing Tatum comes air skating in the nick of time for like
no reason.
No reason. He just like boom. Here I am shooting shit up. And
I guess
like, I came to rescue you.
I guess he is like a bounty hunter now. He's trying to find her. Like he's actually looking for her, like the gray men are. But still,
it just seems so like
out of the blue.
Why are you here? And I was like, oh. So they couldn't think of a reason to like cleverly get them together.
Yeah.
So he just burst through the door. Mm-hmm. All right. Cool entrance, bro.
And like he skates through the door, and like
he literally skates
on the ceiling.
People, I don't think you're understanding what we're telling you.
Think about how dumb roller skating looks.
like not just roller skate. You need to look at like middle schoolers at a skate rink.
Yeah.
Like the indoor, like the cool place that we went as little kids, right? We thought we were badass skating around in big circles to YMCA and the Ghostbusters theme. Like that.
Yeah.
But Channing Tatum.
And then you do it for 6 minutes and you're like, I'm just going in a circle. This is not that interesting.
Like, what if I went fast? So you know how you do that?
Yeah. That's literally Channing Tatum.
That whole movie.
He does it a lot.
I'm not gonna lie. If you're only listening to this episode, you should probably be watching it because we're pantomiming Channing Tatum skating.
Yeah. So I feel like we explained that. That makes perfect sense.
Everyone's on the same page. Everyone.
Yeah. So she is the recurrence of this woman who apparently was the mother of these 3 different children. They are Eddie Redmayne, the Whisperer, and then a daughter and a son. And these 3 siblings are like space royalty who own planets, and they're extremely wealthy, like exceedingly wealthy.
Yeah, and you can never tell if the brother and sister are also villains or conniving or just like bad people or good people.
Well,
there's like
this
an
whole
act of betrayal, and you're like, oh, he's the bad guy, and then you're like, wait, he's kind of not. Like, what? Why is he married? What the fuck?
Yeah. So the one brother that's not Eddie Redmayne, the other one, he kind of like, they have at the very beginning this conversation about how he inherited their mother's heart, and he's like, has like, you know, he's more caring and empathetic towards civilizations. You find out that was a lie. Like, that's not true at all. And he just wants to kind of take over and steal Earth from his brother because his brother owns Earth. His mother used to own Earth, but apparently still does. So the main thing is that the mother
she died. Eddie Redmayne got it.
Yeah, but she also wrote into her will the outside chance that she could like be reincarnated in the future. If she is, she leaves all of her stuff to herself if she ever comes back. And apparently this happens like once every 100,000 years or something. Sure. That all of your same genes realign and you get reincarnated as somebody.
I got when they started talking about all the reoccurrence. I got heavy. Like, are the Wachowskis like into Scientology? Because this is not exactly like the goofy Scientology part, but like there's some parallels that they're throwing down, and it's just making it worse.
You're exploring some weird shit that doesn't make any sense.
Like, and I kept trying to figure out, like, okay, so these siblings are all trying to figure out how they will be the last ones to own planet Earth. And I was like, all right, so that means planet Earth has to be like incredibly powerful. Like, it's got to be just like there's something super special about
it's like
Earth.
The crown jewel of the universe.
And then they never talk about like why Earth is so significant other than, well, we have to get the Earth girl here.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. And it's not the only planet with human beings on it. They harvest other planets all the time. And I don't really get why Earth's so special other than the audience knows what Earth is. This would have been, I think, a good moment, and this will be a crazy thing to say. This would have been a good moment for the Wachowskis to take a page out of George Lucas's book and just create their own planet. If this was the whole idea, I think it would have worked better. Yeah. If Earth was not in the picture. I think you have your own. Then you can have all those references that everybody knows. You know what? Those goddamn references. But yes, I kind of like, I got that feeling where I was like, are they trying to set up some new like Star Warsian saga? Yeah. Like, what are they trying to do here? And I really did think, man, if they omitted Earth completely, kept all these weird alien creatures, right? Yeah. Just omit Earth, have some other humanoid girl who's the reoccurrence. Yeah. I think it actually would have worked better just for storytelling purposes. Yeah. Because then people aren't trying to connect Earth and our reality to this insane fucking story. Yeah. You're trying to tell people, you're trying to get people to buy in that she's from Earth, she cares about Earth, and that's why she does the thing she does and gets conned into marrying this guy, which we'll get to. But I totally agree with you. It's confusing to also try to get people to buy into the fact that, oh, remember aliens and everything you've ever heard of them? They're real. There's a bunch of aliens in outer space. They own these other planets. They harvest these planets, which means killing all the people on these planets. And human beings on Earth are from those people. And we came to Earth and killed all the dinosaurs. Remember dinosaurs? You know about dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's an actual part, people.
Get rid of all of that and just be like, here's a girl from a planet. She is the reincarnated royalty of all these people that own all these planets. And they're going to destroy that planet unless she marries this guy. Boom.
Bam.
Story makes a lot more sense.
Boom. Look at that. Look at that. We just simplified the hell out of that.
Yeah. It's confusing as crap.
It would have been way more like cohesive.
Yeah. So she goes into space. I was going to talk about her marrying that guy. I guess there's stuff.
We haven't even explained her whole process of going to space, which is one of the most ridiculous sequences. Her claiming her royalty, was borderline infuriating.
So she's rescued by Kane Wise, the dog face boy, and he's trying to get her into space. His ship was destroyed. That was the whole fight in Chicago that you talked about. So he goes to Sean Bean's house, his good buddy Sean Bean. He skates all the way there. No, he actually drives a car.
No, they drive a car. He is an ordinary, fantastic vehicle driver for being an alien space dog toy.
It's true. He can handle the old tech. So they get to this farm that is covered in bees, and there's bees everywhere, more bees than I've ever seen. And apparently Sean Bean knows him. He knows Sean Bean. They were buddies in the war or whatever. And Sean Bean raises all these bees, and the bees clue them in to the fact that she is actually the queen of the universe and owns Earth and all these planets. She is royalty because they move in some uniform pattern.
Because they flock to her. She's like a magnet for the bumblebees.
Sean Bean says bees don't lie. They're not saying anything. What are you talking about? Bees don't lie.
Yeah, his speech about bees not lying and how I forget what he says, but the whole speech I was like, they're bees. Have you ever watched bees? They're cool. They're cool.
Yeah.
But have you ever watched bees just flying around? It's pretty
Yeah. I mean, if they all fly the same direction, I would pay attention, but I wouldn't.
I think they were trying to parallel the queen bee. You know how bees flock to her and do what they need.
Oh my god, I never got that.
Which
the queen
don't feel bad.
Bee, if she's the queen,
she's
bee,
the queen.
She must be the queen.
She's the queen bee. She's the new mean girl. Because that's what they call the group of girls in Mean Girls.
Yeah, I got it. Bee. Yeah, I got it. So
that's a good movie. I should rewatch that. That's a good movie, guys.
Does that mean that bees recognize all queens? If you're the Queen of England, the bees recognize you. If you're the Queen of
it can only be the space goddess mom.
You have to be the queen of the planet.
Queen of the universe, or at least this section.
Yeah,
of the universe, because they never quite explain if it's the entirety.
Yeah, do you own Earth and Mercury and
right? How are you never find out? They're alien loving bees, dude. They love their alien queens.
Maybe bees are also alien, and they came with the people when they killed the dinosaurs. And they know each other.
You know what a good question would be?
The lizard men with wings, except smaller.
You know what a good question would be?
What?
Those bees that flock to alien queens, right?
Yeah.
Would they flock to the queen xenomorph? Because that bitch be crazy.
That's true. That doesn't get a badder bitch queen than the xenomorph queen.
Yeah. So I'd be curious. Do they do that? Or would they... Actually, I can't remember if it's a queen. It is the queen. Would they flock to the queen mega alien from the Independence Day sequel? Would they flock to that bitch? Because she's also kind of off her rocker.
The Independence Day sequel.
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
What's that movie?
It was a little more like cohesive than this one, but
not Cocoon, but the one that has like all of the. Oh, I'm thinking of Species. I don't think Species has any like insects in it. Never mind. Take it back.
She's not like even a queen though. She's just like a super horny.
Well, she's like an alien person though.
Yeah, she's an alien lady who's like crazy horny and is like, I just need to get fucked. And so she does.
We may have seen different versions of Cocoon.
You said Species.
Oh, yes, Species. I was thinking.
Species.
I kind of
said not Cocoon.
I think I was
Species.
I was combining Cocoon, Species, and The Fly in my mind, and I was like, "This is the perfect allegory to connect to this movie," but that movie doesn't exist, so
that'd be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Gross.
So they are at the Sean Bean's house, and he's giving all this backstory of the movie, and that's all that really happens. They get attacked by these mercenaries who are also trying to capture her. They do. They make crop circles. Boom. She's captured. She goes to space. And so she's in space. She meets with the sister, who seems genuinely fairly nice, just kind of misguided in the sense that she's spoiled and rich and used to living in this lifestyle, and so she's just used to it as if it's normal. She talks to Jupiter about what the world and the rest of the like outside of the atmosphere is like, and my favorite is she tells her all about their whole regenerative system where they have this technology where they are able to live for thousands of years, thousands of millennia, I think she says.
It's like plastic surgery for aliens, but it's real quick. Like, look, the wrinkles are gone.
She's able to take like a bath in this serum, and it essentially euthanizes her. Not euthanize, that's actually killing. It makes her younger. More youthful is what I meant.
De-ages her. De-ages her.
Yes, that is correct. It de-ages her, and she's like, we are able to live for thousands of years, or maybe even thousands of millennia. I think she says that. And in my mind, if you know anything about like, trying to earn money, save money, invest money, the most important thing is time. So if you are alive for thousands of years, of course you're rich. Like you would be an idiot if you weren't rich by that long. So of course they're old enough or like rich enough to own planets and stuff. That's fine. That makes sense. But she gives this whole like dialogue about like how when you have all the resources in the universe, you realize that the most important resource and precious resource is time. And I'm like, you're telling me that if I had every other single resource that I owned it, then I would find time useful. That doesn't mean that time's actually valuable. It means that all of the valuable stuff I already have, so then I would want time also. That's what that means. But then I realized you are able to live for hundreds of thousands of years, so time is only valuable if it's pretty rare.
Right.
It's obviously not valuable because you can live as long as you want, and so that whole conversation doesn't make any damn sense.
Well, that's like basically, I think she pops up one more time in the movie, but that's like it for that character, which is one of my many moments of like, was there more? Because I feel like her character, to me, I got the sense that they were like building the sister up. Like, okay, she's going to show up.
Yeah.
Probably be a significant player in this film.
Maybe come back and save her, be the good one, have a conscience.
That was it. Hope you got what we were trying to say. Do you know what you were saying? Because no one does. And then and then like Channing Tatum shows up again, and everyone seems to be like, all right, we're all together, but I'll be grumpy because you took her, but I guess it was for a good cause, but we don't know why you took her. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I'm just going to scowl. And now we're going to go through the process of Jupiter claiming her title, her land.
It's when she ascends. Did you catch that?
Oh my god.
So the movie is called Jupiter Ascending.
Right.
And
it's almost like they give away the whole point of that character in the title.
And then she goes through this like very arduous bureaucratic process of getting her paperwork in order and getting her titles and her,
which felt like,
back.
Oh, this is supposed to be like a bad ripoff of Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah.
But the difference being Hitchhiker's Guide is witty, it's silly, it's funny, it's part
fits.
of a very silly story.
Cohesive as
this, yes. Yeah, for as ridiculous as Hitchhiker's is, you get it. Pretty much from the get-go.
Yeah.
This one, that whole part of her like going to each desk and them being like, oh, now you have to get this paper. Oh, now you have to get this form.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, if they do one more fucking desk like this, I'm gonna scream. And then they did like 5 more. I was like, God damn it!
But the android guy that like shows up to help her go through that, he says, "I'm here to help you through your ascension process." And I was like, "Oh, your ascension process, your Jupiter ascending at this moment." It's very funny. But I don't know how many times you watched this movie. I watched it twice.
I tried to watch it twice, Jake.
I watched it twice. I hadn't seen it in a long time, so I watched it the first time just straight through. And then I watched it the second time with subtitles for Eddie Redmayne's Whispering. And
my planet.
I was kind of surprised because I felt like you said, every time they need to go to the desks, every fight scene, every space battle just goes on forever. I was like, this is ridiculous. Rewatching it and trying to take notes and stuff, it weirdly moved pretty quick. I was like, they're trying to pack. Yeah, I was like, they're trying to pack a lot of stuff in. I don't know why it feels so long when you're actually paying attention. I wasn't really paying attention before. Like at the second time, I was just taking notes and watching it and listening to watching the subtitles because I didn't know what he was saying. But it was weird. I was like, this is moving faster than I remember.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
Because that first time going through it, I was like, wow, this is like never ending, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, so the second time I tried to watch it, I say I tried twice because I fell asleep during it because I was tired. And I was like, I was already a little disgruntled that I was going to force myself to rewatch it. I won't lie. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll watch it. I'll like, there were a couple points that I was like, I really just want to see these like moments again, see if I catch something different in this. The abduction scene was one of them, and I did make it through that one, and I learned nothing new. I was still just as lost as I was the first time I watched it.
You at least got her name. I didn't even figure that out.
Yeah. And then I fell asleep. And then I was like, yeah, I'm not going to rewatch that again. I was like, I already know the bullet points that I wanted to touch on. I already know what I'm going to say. Like, I just got to put my notes down and we're good. And then I procrastinated on notes because I was like, I'm going to start prepping for our next one, even though I've got a little while. But I want to do that one.
Yeah.
So I focused on that a little more. I really did not like this movie.
That's fair. I kind of did that too, where I was like, oh, I'm interested in this next episode. I'll just skip over. I'll wing it when we do the episode. It'll be fine.
Hey, I got my notes, man. I got my notes. I got my notes.
But I think one of the key moments that we need to touch on before we forget is after she meets with the sister, she meets the brother, and he's like, oh, I actually secretly don't agree with my family's whole industry. My family is rich because they harvest these planets, which means killing all these people and taking their life force cells, I don't know, and condensing it into these things that they use to make the baths that make them young, like give them infinite life or whatever. And he's like, my mom had a change of heart at the end. That's why they murdered her. That's you're her, remember? And then I also am I have this same feeling, and I'm trying to like get ahead of it or do something. He doesn't really say what he's doing. But he's like, people are going to murder me because of it. So we need to get married so that you can have all that I have, I guess, when I get murdered. He tries to trick her into marrying him.
Right, and he's like, this has nothing to do with love. I could not care less about you, but we need to do this for formality. And you're like, what?
Yeah, good sales pitch, bro. He's like, I know you're in love with the dog face guy. And I'm like, she is?
Oh, dude, you didn't catch on that?
To me.
Oh, my God. They're first, like, right after the big Chicago fight scene, roller skating across the sky. Immediately after that, I was like, oh, God. Oh, God. They're going to do some stupid romantic angle between these two, aren't they?
It is a very forced romantic
angle. It is. It might be one of the most, like, forced, just blatantly, this is a studio move. This has to be a studio move right here. If it's not, the only other option that it can be is that the Wachowskis were like, it worked with Neo and Trinity, so we're going to do it again.
Right.
Difference being, Neo and Trinity have chemistry, and that one actually does kind of like will subtly hint, and then the audience will be like, oh my God, love conquers all, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
This one is weird because he's a dog man. But you know what?
That's not even the weirdest part for me. I could buy into the fact that she's in love with the dog man.
They're like, bestiality is okay with us.
I didn't like focus on that so much as the fact that it didn't make any sense to me.
It makes no sense. There is no sense.
Even if he is 90% person and it's a normal human relationship, that they actually like each other.
It makes like, zero sense that she's like, one scene, oh my God. Actually, I take that back. At no point during this movie does she lose her shit at this whole revelation of people owning Earth, aliens, everything. She's kind of just like,
this is fine. Yeah. Until her family's abducted, then she kind of
and then she gets concerned. A little like, where's my family?
Yeah.
I'll marry you.
But I was so like confused. I felt like I could buy that they would be like romantic if there was any chemistry at all. There's not any chemistry. She gives him like a speech where she's like, I actually have this problem where I fall for people I shouldn't fall for. And then he's like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to leave now. And she's like, oh my God, I love you for saying that you're going to leave.
That's essentially their entire love story. Like, you did a pretty good summary right there, dude.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you for that one. It's almost as good as my summary was for this whole movie.
Look out, Mila Kunis. I'm coming for your job. Yeah, it's just the most random thing. And he obviously does like seem to have, I feel like there's a lot of cut scenes, but he does seem like it has an arc where he cares about her. Like he's constantly trying to save her. It's more than just like, oh, I'm a bounty hunter. I found you here. Give her to the guy. I'm moving on. He does like stick around, tries to like,
which is like
help her.
What you just said, where it's obvious there's a lot cut because he goes from being like, I'm just protecting you, like to, oh my God, I will make you pregnant with my weird wolf winged.
I'm going to put puppies inside you.
Puppy boy babies. Ooh.
Yeah, so it's weird on all levels.
Like there's no it does not like simmer. There's no like
it goes just to 11 very fast. Yeah. Like,
we must do each other.
Doggy style. I hate myself for saying that.
Don't hate yourself. The movie set you up for that joke.
It's true. It was right there. It was right there. Nobody else is going to do it. So she meets the guy. He tells her all those things. He tricks her into marrying him. I don't know why she believes him. I don't know. Like, he's kind of believable, I guess. But for her to just go, okay, I'll just marry you because if I don't, then your brother will destroy Earth and my family. Like, I kind of get it, but they didn't really sell me on it. Like, I had to think a lot outside the movie to be like, why the hell did she do that?
Right, and then they do that like where he does his vows real quick, and they do the tattooing of the ring on his finger, which I was like, you can't come up with something other than like an Earth ring. Like this is the edge of the universe.
We just spent all the CGI on the tattoo thing that happens in the.
Her little. I forgot about the stamp.
Yeah. That's her royalty stamp, and then
she literally has a stamp on her wrist.
You get a nut, but it's like holographic. It's like a cool baseball card, and then she gets another stamp when she gets married, but it doesn't get finished.
Well, it doesn't finish the. Yeah, it doesn't complete the circle, so it fades away.
Yeah, Channing Tatum interrupts it and saves the day
because she takes her time doing that usual movie trope thing where the jackass husband, soon to be husband, is like, "Come on, babe, just say you do." And she's like,
you went from a scene where he's like trying to be extremely convincing. You could argue he was convincing of like wanting to have this thing happen, wanting to marry her, so in case he dies, she can like protect Earth.
Yeah, it's like a business transaction.
Yeah, he tries to convince her, and then for some reason, it's like suddenly shady, where he's like, "Yeah, doing the thing." Was like, "Come on, just do it. It's totally not going to be a trick. Come on." And and then she's like, "Oh, I don't know what to do.
Should I?" I was like, you know what scene did this kind of thing way better was Spaceballs, and.
Again, Spaceballs. Spaceballs was a better movie than this one. Yeah, and it's just buying time for Channing Tatum to get there from
to have his grand entrance.
Yeah, he has
look at me.
One of his many space chases where he's doing this in front of a green screen. Yeah, flying a ship. There's so many similar like action scenes that I felt very confused for most of them, where I'm like, I can't tell what's going on. I can't tell where they are. I can't tell what the stakes are.
I'm glad you brought this up because I have a thought of what this movie is.
Okay.
No, I think it's better for a summary. I'm holding that thought.
Oh, that means he's going to forget before the episode.
No, it's in my goddamn notes, you dick.
I have many notes that I always forget.
That's at the end of the episode when we summarize.
Shut up, Eddie Redmayne. Get out of here.
They're my notes.
Don't judge me.
If nothing else, folks, you should watch it to hear our like perfect impressions of it.
Perfect, he says.
Dude, they're pretty accurate.
It's true.
I am Eddie Redmayne.
And
it's my plate.
Has he won an Oscar? I am Oscar winner Eddie Redmayne.
Pew pew.
Pew, pew.
Pew, pew,
I don't even know what we haven't talked about so far.
So Channing Tatum busts open the wedding, saves Mila Kunis, Jupiter.
I was confused by.
Did they go back to Earth at that point? No, they're in space this whole time, right?
They don't go back to Earth until her family's abducted, and then they randomly go back to Earth, discover her family's abducted, then go back to space immediately, which is confusing, but I figured it out the second time watching it. But the thing I don't really understand, Sean Bean, who was in the farmhouse with the bees, they were fighting.
The dude, he's a good dude. He's like a good old timer.
They were fighting the mercenaries that were trying to abduct him. You see, I guess, him get attacked and everybody kind of gets knocked out. He shows up back in space and Mila Kunis is like, "Oh, whatever your name is, Sean Bean." And he's alive and he's in space with them. And you're like, "Oh, they abducted him when they abducted her. Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine." And then he like turns on them. And I didn't really make sense.
He's like, "Suddenly I'm a double agent."
Yeah.
Sorry, bub.
He turns on Kane, Channing Tatum's character, and I feel like I have to clarify every time because nobody knows the names of these characters.
No.
I don't know the names of these characters. He turns on Channing Tatum and tries to like arrest him, like let's get him out of the universe. I don't know what he's trying to do, but he turns on him.
They capture him,
and
they throw him in that like.
He's definitely like, "Sorry, buddy," like. I had to. I don't know really what's going on.
This is my only you're just not the guy. I didn't understand what the motivation was, because like 10 minutes later, they're like, we must save Kane before he dies. And you're like, what? He's in a cage.
Just turned on him, Doug. I don't understand. Like, yeah, it was very confusing because he was like friends, then not friends, then friends again, and it wasn't explained at all.
And he like gets ejected out into space, but is fine because he managed to steal.
Well, everybody knows dogs can breathe in space.
Well, he steals 2, right? He steals 2 of the space suits.
Yeah, and then he saves Mila Kunis at the very end and pops a helmet on her head.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so that's what happens. But I will say, Eddie Redmayne's character lives on like the most cliche bad guy planet ever.
Yeah, like, and it's like this long hallway with
like
his
lava
at the end.
Yeah, lava and like
he's the walkway to his seat, right? Has like the bodies. That's where he keeps the family, right? That's where he's harvesting.
He's got like an invisible floor that he's like has the essentially a torture chamber beneath him. Yeah, and it looks like a bad guy's lair.
Yeah. I mean, he's supposed to be like this all intimidating,
bought into it,
scary guy who he's just like this cast is better than what this movie gives them, right? I had the hardest time. I was like, I can't tell if the actors are just bad, or if this is actually bad direction. If this is,
I think that the actors are not bad. They can be good. They have been
like I really like Channing Tatum in his comedic roles. I think he's excellent in those, and even some of his more dramatic ones. I don't think he's half bad.
He can be a good love interest,
right? Eddie, no, we're not bringing up Nicholas Sparks.
I was talking about very recently in that movie with Sandra Bullock. What's that called?
Oh, I haven't watched that one yet.
Lost City.
Yeah. I haven't watched that one yet.
It's good.
I've heard that it's like super fun. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Not bringing up Nicholas Sparks.
But Eddie Redmayne is like award-winning. Like, we know you've got talent, dude. I mean, the guy's he can throw down. And
Mila Kunis, who we've actually barely talked about, is very likable. Like, she's a very good actress. But
she's a pretty good actress. My favorite thing she's ever done was Black Swan.
That's a very serious role. I was going to say.
So I know that she's got
Sarah Marshall, but
she is awesome in that too. But my personal favorite of hers is the dramatic Black Swan.
We heard you the first time.
I'm letting you know again. You had some spite to your response.
She's good in both. She's good in general. That's the point.
She is good. But she's not in this.
Well, it just seems like nobody knows what's going on. And I attribute that to the writing and the directing.
It not only does it feel like they are obviously as clueless as you are as an audience member, but that they care less than you do.
Yeah. If it was just me, if it was just the audience that didn't know what was going on, I would say it's probably the editing. Like, there must be things missing that I should know and I don't know. And they thought that, they'll figure it out, and they just edit it down for some studio reason. That happens. But yeah, it definitely seems like the cast also doesn't really know what's going on, what their characters are doing, or why this is even happening. And I attribute that to either like schedule, like they didn't have the time to explain it, which is a thing, which reminds me, did you know the day that this movie came out that Jupiter, the planet, was like in its like full opposition or whatever
to the Earth? Yeah.
And so that in my mind means like, you were focusing on the wrong things. That is a very hard deadline that obviously you cannot change because it's in outer space. So you like maybe rush the movie in order to meet that arbitrary thing that nobody is ever going to care about. one nerd is going to be like, oh, that's so cool. I'm going to see this movie that actually cares about Jupiter's ascension and Jupiter's effacing the Earth and all this stuff. Nobody else for all of time is going to care that this movie came out on that day.
So when I read that on the IMDb page, my first thought, because it's like the first fun tidbit that they have, my first thought was like, dumb. It just kept going.
I feel like that's your reaction to most of the movie.
Like, not that, I mean, because like my dad gets a big kick out of like when the planets are a little extra visible. He gets a kick out of that, and it's cool to see that. And like when you look through the binoculars or it does look really cool.
It's kind of interesting,
but to make that like
a selling point of the movie,
a selling point for your film, like dumb.
Yeah. And if you had to compromise anything in order to meet that schedule and get it out on that day, not worth it.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was this movie or something else. I feel like it was Channing Tatum that said it, though. I really think it was this one where he got asked, what's the movie about? And they said, I have no clue.
Yeah, I think it was in this movie. He did like a Reddit AMA on it.
Like, you tell me.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody knows what this movie's about.
I don't even remember. So I don't even remember how they defeat Redmayne. Oh, he falls. He has a cliche bad guy fall.
Classic. No, not cliche. Classic bad guy fall.
And Channing gets in a big old like fight with one of the lizard guys.
Yeah.
And they try
the lizard guys are kind of cool. Like the more I watched them, I was like,
the first one
not bad.
There's two of them. The first one is just like, my bad, master. I'll try better. I won't fail you again. Obviously, he's going to fail again.
Yeah.
This happens.
Yeah.
He gets booted into space, right? Like he just has to freeze in the
first lizard man. I feel like he got like tortured with the same stuff that her family was going to get tortured.
He got tortured?
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I was, but I don't remember that guy specifically dying.
He dies. He dies and was replaced with like a
because he failed. He wasn't good.
Yeah, he failed. He
didn't get the
bad
girl.
henchman. Bad.
Like, henchman number 2, you are now in charge of getting the girl.
Come on. And he's like, oh, right, master. I've got it. And he gets in a fight, and they try to be clever with the fight where the floor like opens but then closes.
Well, that was another gadget he had at the very beginning of the movie when he's like breaking into that one building for no reason, and the mercenaries are following him and giving his expedition. What's the one about story? Not the one that's a car. The one that's a story. Extradition.
I don't think it's extradition.
What is it? Is it exposition. I was close.
Guys, we haven't even really like drank. This is just what this movie does.
This is how bad I am at the English language. But he like puts this portal on the wall, and it like opens up a doorway, and he walks in. So he he's like, "Oh, remember that thing?" And he does it to the floor. Yeah, it's not like the gravity boots where he uses every 5 minutes, so you don't forget that he has them.
Yeah, and I totally forgot that he had. All right, well then I guess they did what they intended was the audience will not forget gravity boots.
Yeah.
They will forget everything else about this movie, but not those gravity boots.
He's got hover skates and they're very cool, I promise.
We had Channing Tatum roller skating in front of a green screen for hours. People will remember this.
Yeah. Even if they don't want to. But yeah, that's essentially how they have a fight. She fights Eddie Redmayne. He tries to like force her to give up her right. So she's like,
she has
the
to,
paperwork's done. The government signed off. Like, I own the earth. And he's like, yeah, but you can take that little stamp off your wrist and it becomes mine.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, but do I?
Yeah.
Will I? Oh,
and he has her family, and so she's trying to like save her family, obviously. And then as soon as Channing Tatum shows up to save the day again, she breaks his like space iPad and
suddenly her and Channing Tatum are like super same page, where he's like, I'm the one that takes care of the family. I will rescue all of them. She's got to take care of the bad guy because we have to have her fight the big baddie.
Right.
Not much of a fight, guys.
Feminism.
And then like he saves the family and they see each other like close to, face to face again. She goes, my family. And he's like, they're safe. She's like, all right.
This is word for word verbatim what happens in the movie.
Dude, I actually don't think I was very off.
No,
that was pretty close, actually. My sarcasm was pretty damn close there.
Yeah. And then she falls for like the fourth time. He catches her, puts a helmet on her head. They fly off, get back to Earth.
And Eddie Redmayne falls while screaming.
Yeah. Way worse than Hans Gruber in Die Hard. Doesn't come back. He's just gone forever. And then they get back to Earth. Channing Tatum's like, hey, bitch, you fallen with me yet? And she's like, yeah, kind of.
She's like, yeah.
And he's like, what if I had wings? And she's like, that's hot. And then they make out. And then they do the exact ending of Matrix 4 where they both fly away.
It's like, guys, it did not work in Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah.
It did not work again in Matrix 4.
So like,
by the way,
you know how
Matrix 4 if you didn't see it.
You know how we tried to get the characters in Jupiter Ascending to be exactly like Neo and Trinity, but it didn't work because they're not Neo and Trinity. So let's have Neo and Trinity do the same thing, fly off at the end of the movie. Guess what? It doesn't work either time.
It turns out the audiences actually only want Neo flying around.
Yeah.
Crazy thing.
It makes a lot of sense if you actually try to think about it.
Yeah. Sorry. God, when they were on top of the skyscraper, whatever building it is.
Yeah.
Like they're talking. I just kept like, I didn't really watch the ending because I knew where they were going. Because I was like,
you knew it was the end.
Yeah. Here comes the, she's going to be wearing the boots and they're both going to go off the building. She'll be doing her version of the shoot, 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 shoot. And he's going to have his big wings. And then he unfolded his wings. And I was like, oh my God, it looks worse than I thought it was going to. And it makes less sense, even though you know it's coming and you've heard the backstory on him.
Yeah.
It makes less sense.
Yeah. Yeah. He's an angel. He got his wings back.
Apparently. And then, yeah, they fly around Chicago together. And again, I thought, so everyone's just watching them like broad daylight.
Yeah.
They don't have the machinery.
No.
Apparently, all the like
do that.
All those other aliens that exist, all the like little gray men that are infiltrating the world, apparently all of them just like up and leave.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what happens to all the minions, but they're
like there's no
gone.
Just they left. And you're like, I feel there's a big plot point missing to them coming back to Earth. And then you're like, and she went back to cleaning houses. Oh, look at that. Now she gets up early in the morning. Coffee's made. Breakfast is made. She's got a good attitude.
Appreciates her life, what she had.
Right. And you're like, because if I was suddenly the owner of Earth, I'd be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and live in my studio apartment again.
Yeah.
Or is it just a bedroom upstairs in this house? We still don't know.
Well, you know, the most bullshit thing that happens in the movie at the end there when she's having the meal with her family and they're like, oh, we bought you the telescope you wanted.
Right, the telescope.
The most bullshit thing is her mom comes over and she's like, you know what? I always loved your father. And I'm like, what the fuck? Mila Kunis says that her mom told her love isn't real. And and it's just urges and obligations.
Well, and her mom, like, she even says life. in that opening dialogue too, where she's like, my mom never talks about my dad. We've never talked about their relationship. She only told me this part and that's it.
Yeah.
And you're like, so you and your mom are estranged, and your mom apparently hates your dad for dying young over a telescope.
Yeah.
Which I was were you expecting some like deep tie to like
his tie is he
the
likes
telescope
space
and her dad and
he likes space and named her Jupiter. That's the tie.
Dude, can we just say Jupiter might be one of the worst names to give your child?
It's true. Yeah. And the mom says that. The mom does have some sense. She's like, no, I'm not naming my daughter that. And then when your husband dies,
yeah, she's like, well, I have to now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she doesn't like her dad. Or
she's like, he stuck me with that damn name.
No fucking
I had no
name.
choice.
You're gonna stay in this 1-bedroom room thing with your aunt and I.
Yeah.
And
but how shitty is it to tell your daughter her whole life love isn't real? Love isn't real. You had a father. I didn't love him. Love isn't real. Don't fall in love. Don't worry about all that stuff. It's just urges and obligations. And then you grow up. You're 30. And you go through this whole thing. You're like, oh, I fell in love with the dog guy. And
how do you explain that to your mom?
I now have a telescope, and your mom's like, you know what? I always loved your dad. And you're like, what? Now you tell me. That doesn't.
Mom, you're like
nothing. 20
years too late to tell me this shit.
Yeah,
bitch.
Like that sucks. Like you're a terrible mother. It annoyed me.
There were several moments in this movie that were bullshit.
Okay.
But first, since we're on the topic of the love story aspect of this movie and it being super forced. Oh, by the way, folks, we like already talked the whole film.
Yeah.
Now it's God, that movie sucks. But I started thinking because I know, like in the 80s and the 90s, especially in action movies, there's always like a love interest, right? There's always some kind of romantic angle.
Right.
That just seems to like, oh, these two got put in a crazy situation together, so obviously they got to bang. They
right.
Gotta,
have some sexual tension.
Yeah. But the difference to me is for some stupid reason that I can't figure out, it like makes sense and it fits in those movies.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, I was very like, well, this is just bad writing.
Yeah.
But it made me question. Sorry, I had to plug my computer in. Oops. It made me question, like, do movies, action adventure in particular, or really any genre, I guess you could say, minus like romance films, do they actually need like a love interest? Do we actually have to have romantic angles in a film?
Are you being super cynical all of a sudden?
Kind of. Maybe a little bitter because
a good love story can add heart or make you connect or care about the stakes of this character. Like I don't maybe not care about them as an individual, but if they're in a romantic relationship with the person I do care about, then I care that he cares about her.
Well, I'm like, it's rhetorical. It's not complete bitterness. I just thought because this one was so obviously forced and there's no chemistry between these two.
There's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. This is
right. But is it necessary? Because like every fucking action movie has this kind of angle in it.
I wouldn't say it's necessary by any means.
That was my question. Like,
I would say it can be done, and in some cases it should be done.
Yeah,
but it's not necessary.
It's not necessary, but they keep doing it, and it's like it's such a obvious. Oh, the studio dipped their hand in the cookie jar. Yeah, and this movie also obviously got me thinking of like fucking studios. Like it's so blatant that the studio had to have fucked this story up. I don't know if that's just me trying to like believe the Wachowskis are better than what that movie is.
I could see that. I could see like trying to force too much in because if you add this piece, then you'll get this section of the market and you'll get a bigger audience. If you add a romance angle, you'll get people that are interested in, oh, at least there's a romance angle, and then they'll see it. So you're trying to get as much of an audience as possible. That could be.
Yeah. And, you know, if it's missing as much as I think it might be, but I couldn't find anything on like director's cut, original runtime. The only thing I found was that the script was originally 600 pages.
Okay.
Which is an insane amount of script.
Isn't a page like a minute of screen time?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
So one page like 10
is 1
hours.
minute of screen time. Yeah.
10-hour movie.
Which when I saw that, immediately was like, oh yeah. This was an epic. This was probably the start of some giant fantasy franchise.
Could have been 3 movies.
The studio
probably.
came in and was like, no, you got to take 600 pages worth of stuff and cram it into like 2 hours worth.
Yeah.
And then I was like, who the fuck does this? Like, why do studios keep doing this? And I was like, oh yeah, Warner Brothers.
yeah, that's the Wachowskis' fault for signing up with Warner Brothers.
Yep. But I digress.
The one, I have like a weird conspiracy theory about one of the themes of the movie.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't really know like how this, like kind of in the vein of how did this movie get made? What were they going for? And why did it fail? Like, because it wasn't a good movie.
Literally looked up, why did Jupiter Ascending fail? Like, that was it's a Google search.
The rating is terrible. It barely made its money back. It is a failure for sure. I have like a conspiracy theory, which is that the part of the movie is the whole like harvesting of planets to get this serum to give the elites of society their whole like eternal life kind of thing. There is like in our real world like a conspiracy theory that like the elites in society are harvesting like stem cells and aborted fetuses and all this stuff to drink their blood and prey on their like use their cells to live forever kind of thing.
This is where we get dark.
And I was like, maybe that is actually happening. And the Wachowskis accidentally wrote a movie like that touched too close to it. And so Hollywood like threw all of these things in to make it fail. And so it was never a big success. Otherwise people would actually like it and watch it and believe it.
Was there anyone else saying the same thing?
No, I came up with this off the top of my head based on literally nothing other than seeing the movie and hearing that one thing in the past. I have only myself to blame for this.
Okay. I don't know how to respond to that one, Jake.
That's fine. I don't need to respond.
You kind of caught me at a awkward moment.
There's another theme which you alluded to before we started recording, which is that they are from Russia. The family's from Russia.
Yep.
They mentioned Stalin a couple of times as kind of like jokey, but also kind of in a negative light. And then we talked about a lot of the movie is like anti-capitalism, like the weird.
Well, it has aspects of it, but that's not surprising coming from the Wachowskis because that trying to throw in like underlining political themes has kind of been their shtick since V.
Sure.
Granted, V isn't trying to be subtle or underlining,
and is also good
and is amazing, and also doesn't really support the side that everyone thinks it does if you really watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people like herald it as if it's on that side. I'm like, no, really, not at all.
No, it really doesn't, which is kind of funny that
it's a very, like you said, it's a very clear message in that movie.
Right.
And they lay it out word for word verbatim, just tells you exactly what the point of the movie is, and yet people still misunderstand it.
Yeah, which is funny because I think they even misunderstood it because they did come out and were like, it's all against this party, and then you're watching it,
yeah,
and you're like, are you sure?
Yeah,
because that's
the British guy says he's part of the Conservative Party. Yeah, that he's a douchebag. That's not really the point of the movie, though. It's not picking sides in parties. It's This isn't about V for
This isn't V, but that's a good Wachowskis movie.
Yeah,
This is a bad Wachowskis movie.
also based on a comic that was pre-existing.
It was based on a comic.
They didn't write it from scratch.
Whose original author like totally discredited and wants nothing to do.
Alan
He does
Moore
that with all of his
discredits
stuff.
everything. Yeah.
Alan Moore just hates everyone,
He's like, my version is the correct version.
which is kind of fair to a
Yeah,
point.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It is good.
Um,
It's very good.
But that's we're varying away.
Yeah.
Um,
But so the Wachowskis are communists,
Wachowskis.
is what we're saying. And I'm not saying that, but there are elements of the movie, several elements of the movie that are like anti-capitalism, not just the douchebag cousin who takes all of her money for no reason, and then obviously owning planets and owning these like and harvesting human beings, the value of human life, and harvesting them for your own personal gain. But Eddie Redmayne's like in one of his like final monologues, he kind of plays up the deity thing we talked about before, where he's like, I create life and I destroy it. And I'm like, you don't create life, bro. You just kind of prolong it a little bit, like a lot, but you don't create it. You do destroy it. You are totally a murderer. That's definitely for sure.
That's fair.
But-
That's truth.
So I don't know what they were like going for as far as like an actual theme or message of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, did they think it was like an allegory of slavery? I could see them supporting that, where it's like these planets are cattle and they need to be like harvested and they're slaves essentially.
Kind of.
They don't have value.
I was in the same boat with you because I was like going into this was weird for me, dude. Because like I brought it up, I was about to hit play, and I was like, all right. Jake, he keeps laughing about this movie making no sense and being weird, and he keeps telling me I need to watch it to see my reaction, which to me, I'm like, that means he knows I'm not going to like this movie. He knows that I'm going to suffer for 2 hours.
I'm trying to torture
just
you.
Cringe. But I'm like, great. So I'm not going to like this movie. Shit. It's like, but maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Maybe there'll be like a few scenes that I'm like, you know what? That was well done. I like that. Cool. And they did do a couple things in it that was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Granted, it's all like super CGI'd, and even some of the CGI gets real bad sometimes. But like current MCU bad.
Hot take.
Hot take. But yeah, going into it, I was like, okay, but it's the Wachowskis, so there's got to be something redeeming. I was like, well, or not. And I thought, I know I'm going to get some political, like, social cue. Like, they're going to touch on social stuff. They have to. It's the Wachowskis. And to be honest, I barely got the capitalism stuff. Barely got it. The whole time I was like, oh, are they trying to make a point here? Are they trying to be preachy at some point? Like, I kept waiting for it. But I think the story is so muddled and craptastic that any kind of social commentary gets lost just in the debris of spectacle, as I would call this movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, it was weird to me because I expected heavy social stuff from it, right? I really did. All their other movies, maybe not Speed Racer, but all their other movies are heavy with social cues and, you know, underlying political statements or allegory with religion and all that. This one I felt didn't have it. And maybe that's why another reason I didn't like it, because I expected that from them and they just didn't do it, or they did it poorly.
Yeah. I think that you touched on a lot of good points. I do think it is probably too messy to really get anything clear and concise out of it.
Yeah.
I also expect bigger ideas, sometimes ideas that are bigger than you could possibly film. I like approached this and I was like, is it confusing and bad because it's just ahead of its time and I don't get it? Or is it just unclear and poorly done, and
It's
that's
just
what
poorly
actually
done.
what it is? Yeah,
It's just poorly done.
So
But
they should have some sort of an idea of what they wanted to say, and I don't think they really did for this.
And you and I kind of touched on this during our Matrix franchise episode. Go check that one out, guys. It's cool. Like the Wachowskis may have really hit it out of the park way, way, way too early. And I don't know that they're actually going to.
They're not going to get that level again?
I don't think they're going to get that level again. Now, I grant Jupiter Ascending came out. When did this come out? Like 2016 or something like that?
2015.
15. Oh, it was close.
Yeah.
What have they made since then besides Matrix 4?
They wrote this TV series Sense 8.
Never watched it.
Matrix 4, that's it. So there's a big gap. A 6-year gap.
I don't know that they're going to get it back. And honestly, I could see Hollywood, because they do this with like filmmakers.
Yeah.
If you just can't produce something that's really like hitting an audience,
right?
They kind of are like, well, that's that. Which is an aspect I do kind of agree with when it comes to Hollywood, where they're like, you're not doing the job we're paying you for.
Right.
Therefore, we're not going to hire you for the job anymore.
Right. Well, creating a multi-million-dollar movie, hundreds of millions of dollar movie, is a bit of a gamble. Like it may work or it may not. This script that seems like an incredible space odyssey may be very brilliant, or it may come out and nobody knows what the fuck's going on.
And it turned out it was that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the studios, I kind of think like, and I think Matrix 4 was probably the studio trying to be like, let's test if the Wachowski name actually still holds.
Yeah. Give you time, let you get back to your roots. Like,
right.
Do you maybe have some untold story, like, and the fourth part to this story that needs an ending, give you another shot. And they're like, ooh, swing and a miss.
Oh, shit. But I mean, it kind of sucks because like I like creativity and I like supporting artists and all that. You and I both do. Mm-hmm. I would hope the Wachowskis can come back with like a grand slam. I think that'd be fantastic to see something great that connects with audiences again.
Yeah. I mean, ever since people have been shitting on M. Night, who's in a similar vein,
right?
Super early with Signs and obviously The Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense.
All of those movies at the beginning peaked so early, then had this same sort of problem, also doing a lot of like unoriginal movies and stuff. But I've been rooting for him to come back, and he's been getting back to his roots and coming back.
Yeah, he's been trying to get back to it, which I think is admirable and cool to see him really doing that again and being successful with it. Mm-hmm. The Wachowskis, I feel like since V, well, although I am a fan of Cloud Atlas. I actually really enjoy that movie.
Okay.
Even though it's super long, it is super weird.
I've been meaning to get back to it because I saw it once and I was like, I feel like this might be good, but I don't love it. So maybe I need to see it again.
It's been a while since I watched it, but I do know unanimously my favorite thing about the whole film is the music. So I can never tell if it's just the music that makes me love that movie so much that I can listen to 3 hours worth of it.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy a lot of the story, but the music is the best part.
Did you hate the music in Jupiter Ascending?
And it bummed me out.
Hated it.
It bummed me out to find out who did it because I'm a big fan of that composer.
I couldn't remember the last time that I heard a movie score and was like, please stop. Like I am sick of this.
I felt like the music in it was so unnecessary when it was playing. Yeah. Like it just felt so out of time, or just like I honestly, Jake, I don't think anyone a part of this movie besides the Wachowskis gave a shit about this movie. And I felt like the Wachowskis just gave up trying to get people on board and were just like, you're getting paid. Can you just do what you need to do to get paid? And people went, bare minimum it is. Because if I remember right, the composer is Michael Giacchino. Giacchino.
Oh, from Lost?
Yeah.
Love him.
Right.
Yeah, music by Michael Giacchino.
Which is a bummer that
Giacchino,
something like that.
I've never heard it. I've only read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like him as a composer. I love his material. It's awesome. He did Lost. He did Spider-Man No Way Home. Like he's done incredible fun. He did the Batman. Like
Rogue
he's
One.
done amazing scores.
Yeah.
And this one was a real like
stinker.
Yeah, big old plot fest, man. Wow. So that brings me though to my thought earlier. That's right. Fuck you. I remembered.
I'm so proud of you.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
All right, move on.
This felt like the Wachowskis tapped into their inner Michael Bay.
Ooh.
This is a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
Done by the Wachowskis.
Yeah. Yeah. That is extremely accurate.
That was that's my absolute conclusion to this movie. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
No substance.
Make it the goal is to make it bearable to get through. That's the level you're aiming for. And to make it kind of jokes. They joke about her royal bowels at one point. There's like kind of jokes, kind of not jokes. It's just kind of love story, mostly not a love story. It's just awkward all the way through.
The only thing that was missing was that stupid swooping underside shot from someone standing up in slow motion. That was the only thing missing.
Especially the action sequences, too long, heavy CGI. I don't know what's going on.
Everything's blowing up. You have no clue at what point what is happening.
No clue, no stakes. Very accurate.
Yeah, Jupiter Ascending is the Wachowskis tapping into their Michael Bay.
All right.
Which was a scary thought, because then I was like, does that mean we all have a little Michael Bay in us?
I hope not. Yeah, that's awkward.
Scary thought, man. Scary fucking thought. Yeah, I did not like this one, Jake. I was like, well, Jake's getting what he wants out of this. I know he's going to laugh at me while I tell him how much this movie bothered me.
I had a lot of fun hearing about you not liking it, so that's all I care about.
Man, I was just so bummed at this movie, though. Like,
it's not good.
At least I got like a cool gray man design. I did like the four legs and the weird crawly thing that they do. I thought that was cool. I just, for a movie that really fronts a lot of like stuff, it's a pretty hollow film. I didn't get anything out of this movie, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I did feel like there should be more to it. There wasn't a lot to take away at the end of the day.
It feels like if we go to visit a movie set, like an old Western set, right? And you're like, oh, look at all this. Like they built a town, and then it falls over and it's just like planks of wood. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. No substance, just facade. Yeah, that is a lot what this is like.
Oh man.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So, before we go, my wife wants a shout out. Christy wants a shout out for drinking the same beer I drank at the beginning of the episode.
Oh man,
I don't know why she thinks that deserves a shout out, but it does. Good job, Christy. You drank a beer, but you are an incredible mother and the love of my life. And thank you for being upstairs drinking that beer.
Suck up.
Any closing thoughts on this pile of shit?
Not really, man. Did you?
No, that was it. I think that it sucks. It's weird, and I have no idea why Eddie Redmayne whispers the entire goddamn movie.
Like I could see people watching this movie and trying to create some kind of like drinking game to it. Like you might die if you take a shot every time Channing roller skates in the sky or anywhere.
That went the opposite direction. I was like, oh, he's gonna like tap into. There's some fans out there. They're gonna take the story and the world that was created and fill in the gaps and with all this lore, and you're like, no, some idiot's gonna create a drinking game about
some
all the
college
times.
group is gonna be like, dude, we should watch Jupiter Ascending and drink during it. Yeah. Man.
Every time that Channing Tatum uses the hover skates, that you take a shot and then you die at the end of the movie.
And then you die. Like, hope it was a good one for you.
Yeah. And then you go to the hospital and have your eggs harvested. That's what you do.
Apparently.
Dude, if I could make $15,000, you're damn right I would get my eggs harvested. You grow more.
I'm not judging. I didn't say shit.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're like, I wouldn't get my eggs harvested. They might be aliens.
You grow more. You got really defensive right there, Jake.
I say that having absolutely no idea what the actual procedure is like. But
right.
The guy in the movie says he does it in his sleep, so he's an alien doctor who's not actually a doctor. So
it's weird. It's weird.
Do I want what?
Did you want to? I'm excited for our next episode.
I am
genuinely stoked for our next one. It's been a long time since we've done this.
Yeah. So
is
in
this
the past,
like the fourth one that we're doing?
That's a good question. I could go to our website, movieboners.com, and see.
I think it is the fourth one. This is like a legit series now, right?
Yeah. So we mostly do top 10s, but we have done in the past several random 10s.
Yes.
And so we're doing another one of those where we spin a wheel, an internet wheel of all the possible movies in the world to see. We watch 10 random movies each and then tell each other how good or bad they were. It seems to be a good mix of some that are really good and some that are like, why the hell is this even a movie on the internet?
We always end up with at least a couple where you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, this will be the fourth one that we've done.
I can't remember if it was the second one we did or the third one, but I do remember you had just ridiculous amount of nudity in yours.
No. I had a lot of male nudity and more than enough male rape was in my movies.
Yes.
I had at least 2 movies with several male rape scenes.
And then it was a third one that I realized I am not a Richard Gere fan. And I realized that while having to watch a movie where he's just like flaunting his junk around and like, well, not a fan of him.
Yeah, not a fan of him or his dong.
Or the dong. It's not doesn't do anything for me.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everyone. Not for everyone.
So next week
I am very excited for it.
10 random movies each. I've already watched several of mine. I think it will be very entertaining.
I've gotten a couple of mine watched. Once again, like, it should be entertaining. It should be entertaining, folks. I was very excited when we decided to do that. Like I said, I started working on that one more than prepping this one.
Yeah.
Although I still had my notes. Dude, I hit all my notes. I was ready for you.
You did good. And it was a full episode. I was like, this is going to be an hour tops. And we had a good time. So
it's because you're like, I'm going to get Dustin ranting about a movie that pissed him off. And here we go.
Yeah, it's true. That's always a good episode. That's why I did it.
Yeah, I know. So go get your shit. Go get your swag, the OG swag, while it's still there.
It leaves in 2 weeks, and then there will be new stuff that we're very excited about. It looks very cool. So
start bringing some new shit out for you guys. I don't really have anything else, do you?
No, I think that's good.
Cool.
Thank you for listening. Let us know if we missed anything. And
let us know if you like Jupiter Ascending, and
let us know if you care that we hate it, because we would like to know what is going on.
Actually, you know what I would like? I would like to see everyone else's impressions of Channing Tatum roller skating in the sky, because I feel like you and I, we did a really good job. Or
someday when we have made a lot of money and people actually listen to this, I'm going to get you dressed up like Barf from Spaceballs, and then give you some roller skates, and then pass it off as Channing Tatum from this movie,
dude,
on green screen or some fancy shit.
Dude, you might not even have to try that hard. Like, Barf is a badass. I suck at roller skating.
That would make
I
it
like doing
better.
stuff to get, like, any chance to get a good laugh out of people. I like taking advantage of that.
Okay,
So.
that may happen.
I don't think you're going to have to,
tonight.
like, try very hard for that one.
Okay, I don't have to make any money if I can get Dustin to pay for it because he wants to do it. So,
but, yeah, go get your shit. Hit us up on, like, all the social crap.
yes.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you. And we'll see you next time.
And we hope you have a good week.
Oh, look at that.
Or
How
two.
Sweet. Oh.
All right.
Ending on a happy note.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.